Hello everyone, today we're looking at Gex, Enter the Gecko. Oh man, this is probably one of the very first games I ever played, and I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, this game, oh man, it really takes me back, because it was very much based off, a Super Mario 64 kind of setting. And so Gex himself, the whole, shtick is that, he's a 3D platformer, but he's all about movies and sort of the movie world. And, oh man, I remember the collectibles in this game, trying to figure out how to get Gex to double jump to do like a, running kick, using his tail to slap enemies, how you'd have all these parodies of different, movie worlds and cartoon worlds. And his dialogue, which I guess definitely at my age definitely flew right over my head. But I remember all the sound effects very clearly. This was, I don't know, kind of a classic game, very silly, very fun. And I remember there was a cool mechanic too, where if you took like a fly, for example, that might give you like extra dash or extra boost or fire powers or something, and you didn't eat it, it would actually act as a damage counter, so you could get hit and you would be okay. And most of the flies were extra lives or extra health anyway, so there was a little bit of strategy there, I guess, into how you used it. And I think for, I guess, a younger gamer, this is actually a pretty good game to start off with, because it gets you used to essentially 3D platforming, the scope and structure of a lot of games, how you essentially have a small world you go into, an objective, you can defeat enemies. So it's combat, exploration, discovery, and platforming. So all those basic components of a platformer. And for me, Gex is definitely a very traditional classic platformer that again throws different things at the player for you to kind of adapt and change. I don't know why, but I very distinctly remember the China levels. They were really I don't know, like visually intense for me, because they were all red, different shades of red. And I specifically remember the dragon boss. It was honestly pretty terrifying as a kid, because it was this giant dragon, didn't have an opening cutscene or anything, it just appeared and it would just hiss at you with this really ominous voice. And I just remember it really terrified me as a child. And yeah, most characters kind of were defeated within one hit of your tail or something, so it's really not a super difficult game. But again, finding out where to go and how to platform and what to do can be kind of intimidating, I suppose. Also, what I do like is each level, again, they're based off a certain piece of media. So from, Looney Tunes to Star Wars, horror themed. And so again, there's no semblance of what I would call story in Gex. It's very much just of its style and of its substance. There's not really story worthy in Gex. And honestly, listening to his dialogue, much years later, it actually is actually pretty funny. Now because of Gex, I know who Joe Piscopo is. And also I kind of get all the X-Files jokes as well, which I do actually appreciate. I do think Gex is actually moderately pretty funny. I also like how, instead of stars, you get TV remotes. And so they're very much streamlined exactly what your objectives are, how many things you need to unlock the next area, and things like that. I also definitely remember the very first boss of this game, which is the tribal kind of elders, and how you'd have to dodge the fireballs and send it back at them. I thought that, again, is very basic, but very well thought out, I suppose. And I remember the second boss, like Morshu or something, which was this giant pig guy who'd chop you up in this giant, like, weird facility. And the third boss was a lot of fun. It was one of those giant bosses where you become like Godzilla and you fight him in a city. And of course, the final boss, Rez, I believe his name was this giant robot with, spiky teeth and these giant eyes. And I always just thought that was always a really cool design, especially as a kid. Another thing that was really nifty is, in that boss fight, you have a second person perspective mode where you would go into Rez's visor and you'd have to, as Gex, dodge the incoming missiles. And that always was, like, to me, really, really impressive and neat. It's like, oh, cool. you know, you have this, and like the graphics are really impressive. You know, the whole technology thing, the sound effects of the missiles coming out, really cool. Another level that also really freaked me out as a kid is the Titanic level, because just the fact you could keep swimming down and down farther and farther and farther and have this infinite like ocean to explore. I just remember feeling as a kid like completely lost and overwhelmed by the size of the level and feeling like I'd be lost forever. Yeah, funnily enough, the horror themed levels I didn't find scary at all. They were just kind of annoying and stupid and jump scary, so that was fortunate. But yeah, Gex today, I don't know if you could, I don't know if I would still recommend it or play it today. I mean, it is still kind of fun. It does have, you know, it's a pretty decent platformer. You know, it works well. It's just, you know, and it's Gex's humor as well. So, I mean, I guess it's okay. But again, it's nothing high on the list. It's definitely something that would be fun to try, but nothing that I'd say is like a must play or anything. It's a very silly, fun game. Oh god, I actually remember one of my favorite levels was the New York level, simply because there's only one basic objective in it, and so because of that, I really remember the theme from that level, and you know, and the fact that you basically had to collect as many items as possible, and then that was the only objective. And also Gex also had a cop costume in that level. So again, it was just that one level, because it was so distinct and so also very difficult to complete. It really stuck out in my mind, and I honestly do have a lot of memories from this game that are just very weird. I definitely remember the space level where one of the last remotes you have to get for it is it's like in this bombing run, which is a parody on, you know, A New Hope, where you have to go down this corridor where there's all these TIE fighters and lasers going off. And I remember just how extremely like difficult that was, and also but really how cool it looked. You know, just the whole, all the lasers and like all the lights and colors going off. I thought it was really, really cool, honestly. And of course, there are a bunch of hidden silver remotes in each level, which are also fun to collect as secondary things. But yeah, a lot of the dialogue and quotes from this game are just burned into my mind. Like, "My name is King, I seek water." But yeah, Gex, it's actually, I mean, I know Donkey's kind of given him a different, you know, a reputation after everyone kept telling him to play Gex after so long. But yeah, I still kind of like Gex, I guess, but I don't expect to get for him to get a sequel anytime soon. But anyway, that's Gex Enter the Gecko. Pretty fun, lighthearted game. Lots of, you know, classical platforming collectibles and whatnot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you later, guys. Bye.